Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review, and back to reviewing the Lethal Weapon movies, and now moving on to Lethal Weapon 2. Released in '89, 2 years after the first film. And Lethal Weapon 2, I enjoy. It's a very solid sequel. Really enjoy it. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, they still have the same fun chemistry with each other. They still do. They still make the film work still. And Richard Donner comes back to direct. And also a lot of the production people, like the music once again done by Michael Kamen, Eric Clapton as well, and also adding on is David Sanborn, also doing additional music as well. Shane Black comes back to write the film, but also you have Warren Murphy as well. Story by Shane Black. But screenplay by Jeffrey Boom. I guess for whatever reason, whatever I think. I think where comfort was with the writer Shane Black. Oh. I think where comfort was. I forget the reason though, but I think he left, and that's why he still did the story for the film though, but he didn't write the film though, because I think he was like wherever it was he didn't continue to write the rest of the movies, so. I forgot the reason though, but regardless, it still is a worthy, solid sequel. I still do, and I still enjoy Lethal Weapon 2. And I think it was like I said, oh shit, and I think also this is one of the. It was either the first film or the second film. Like I said, I forget though. That was a time that my dad and my grandpa saw this back then in the theater. Just them, you know. So it was either the first film or the second film, but I forget though. But I still enjoy Lethal Weapon 2, and another with Danny Glover and Mel Gibson. Now they bring in for the main star of the rest of the series on this, Joe Pesci as Leo Getz. And Joe Pesci, I always enjoyed Joe Pesci in the Lethal Weapon movies, as well as Leo Getz. He's a lot of fun in the film. It's like, Leo Getz wherever Leo gets, get it? And he's always like okay, okay, whatever. He's a lot of fun because the rest of the movie is like, oh, they're the drive-thru, they fuck you in the drive-thru, or whatever it is, they fuck you with it, I love Joe Pesci. He's just a lot of fun, Of course, this of course, this is '89. Of course, the next year, 1990, starring either in Goodfellas and Home Alone. The next year after this. But I love Joe Pesci. He's great. He's a lot of fun as Leo Getz. And then also for the villains, you have Joss Ackland. Which Joss Ackland, he was the bad guy in Nowhere to Run and with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was in the Mighty Ducks movies. With Emilio Estevez on the Mighty Ducks team. So in The Hunt for Red October. Yes, but Joss Ackland is a recognizable guy. So yeah, from the Mighty Ducks, this film, and Nowhere to Run. Derrick O'Connor, he's the guy who's he's Joss Ackland's henchman, the right hand man guy. Which Derrick O'Connor, he's also he was in Deep Rising, which a film that I love. Deep Rising. He was the captain. Daredevil, he was in with Ben Affleck. The Marvel film Daredevil, he was the priest that knows about who Matt Murdock is. What was another film he was in? End of Days. He was the one guy who tried to kill. He knew the devil was in disguise in the body of Gabriel Byrne, and then when he was in the hospital, the devil hung him to the ceiling, crucifix style. But he's in this as the guy as the Josh Ackland's right hand guy, and also it's revealing that he's the guy who killed Mel Gibson's wife. Which is kind of a bit coincidence, that these bad guys that Martin Riggs meets, and he runs the guy who happens to kill his wife. So it was kind of a bit coincidental because he's explaining to Mel Gibson, "Oh, your wife, But I still enjoy the film. And it opens up with this chase sequence and just with chase sequence that Mel Gibson uses yelling and having fun, yeah, and all that. And also you have another group of cops in the police department. One of them is actually played by Jeanette Goldstein Vasquez from Aliens. She's among one of the cops. And also I think Dean Norris is also one of them among the cops too. Dean Norris. He was from show of Breaking Bad. I know him also from Tremors, the series as well. He's been Dean Norris. He's another cop as well. And you get a lot more fun stuff with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, especially with Mel Gibson. Like he's in the straitjacket, right? And he how he gets out of the straitjacket, but he can just dislocate his shoulder like any time. That's how he gets out of the straitjacket. Of course, that scene. And then when and we're dealing with the Josh Ackland and Derrick Carr, there's these South African people who have diplomatic immunity, so they can't be touched. So they like our guys, they can't touch them. Patsy Kensit is also she's like the secretary who works for the bad guys though, but she ends up falling in love with Mel Gibson. She did a nice job too as well, Patsy Kensit. And so they happen to stumble on because on this case with Josh Ackland, because Joe Pesci, he's actually a guy who is the police chief, the guy who the captain of he's also been all four of the Lethal Weapon movies. Steve Kahan as Captain Murphy. He's been in all four of the Lethal Weapon movies as well. He sends Danny Glover and Mel Gibson to watch Joe Pesci because he knows about the business of what the bad guys are in. So they send him to protect him, and they send one bad guy as room service, get a fight, and where Mel Gibson and Joe Pesci and the bad guy, they crash out of the hotel room all the way down, how many stories down into the pool, and then, the little whole funny thing is with Danny Glover, because when they get to their house, Leo Getz explaining all this about these fake financial dummy bank accounts or transmissions, whatever. And Danny Glover, we're going back with his daughter, who's in this commercial, and it's actually a commercial to buy condoms, and he's getting all embarrassed because it's his daughter on that type of commercial, which later, when Joe Pesci sees that on TV, which he doesn't know that's his daughter though, is and Danny Glover's kind of covering the TV, and Joe Pesci's like, "Hey, wait, where you going? She's got a great body. She's the type of girl that makes me want to go buy rubbers for it." So, I mean, Joe Pesci, he's just a lot of fun in this, and then once they meet that one bad guy again from earlier, that they get a decent car chase, but it also ends with the car crashes, and then one car was not coming in the opposite direction and sends a surfboard flying. Sends it flying, just crashes right into that bad guy. It's just pfft. Which I was like, okay, well, that's kind of a brutal thing. Just sends it flying and then pfft, right there. And for reason they tried to raid the bad guys because they have a house that's on it's on a hill and it's on stilts, and the thing is though they can't touch it because they have diplomatic immunity, and they get this another fun thing where they're at this place where with Mel Gibson, like he's kind of like stalking like a little bit with Joss Ackland, he's like following him, where he's going because he knows just on purpose and then also go to the building where they're at, right? And there's these protests outside, right? About South Africa and all that stuff, where Danny Glover and Joe Pesci are there, and they're there to basically to be as a distraction while Mel Gibson sneaks in, right? And then it's like, because the whole protest because of African, blacks, right? Which nowadays, this happens nowadays. They're like, oh, this is all racist and stuff, nowadays. But here, I think it's funny because with Danny Glover, he's like, oh, because I'm black, my ancestors, I'm free, for my ancestors, Oh, and then Joe Pesci, he's just going along with it, and see, like nowadays, that doesn't work nowadays because they oh, that's offensive, it's racist and all that stuff. Here, I think it's damn funny because when Danny Glover he gives how he performs in it, and then Joe Pesci he's going along with it. I think it's pretty funny. And with the bad guys, so Mel Gibson he's in their office and just having fun, just like goes eeny meeny miny, hey Mo, because Mel Gibson. Because Murtaugh likes not Murtaugh, that's Danny Glover. Martin Riggs, he likes the Three Stooges, which in real life Mel Gibson is a fan of the Three Stooges, which I've heard to mention in the first movie because I mentioned the Three Stooges as well. So because he likes the Three Stooges, which in real life Mel Gibson is a fan of the Three Stooges. Because there was a 2000 biopic movie of the Three Stooges, and Mel Gibson was the executive producer for that movie. Yeah, because I said Mel Gibson, he's a fan of Three Stooges. That's why I put all that stuff in there. It's like, eeny, miny, hey Mo! And just shoots out the fish tank. And they try not to get in their way. The bad guys tell them don't stand in the way, but of course they listen. But as I mentioned earlier, because when Danny Glover and his wife were asleep, like some of the guys come in and ski mask, threatening them, say, hey, stay out of our business or what else, right? And of course you get the famous scene the famous scene in this movie is with the toilet scene where Danny Glover was not answering his calls at all, so Mel Gibson and Joe Pesci, they go to his house and they find him in the bathroom sitting on the toilet, right? And he was like, first time in 20 years, Danny Glover is like, first time in 20 years, got the bathroom all to myself. No wife coming in or kids screaming, whatever. Just sitting here with my weekly Fisher magazine. And I turn around, I see this. Writing on the toilet paper, it's like, you move, you're dead. Boom. So they read the bomb to his toilet, so if he moves, boom, he's gone. So... And so they try to, let's handle this discreetly as quiet as possible. But of course, bring the whole entire police force and bomb squad there. So, and then, so they rigged it to like if they move, they kind of like a second spare time before the whole thing blows. So, I think the fun thing with Danny Glover and it just shows with the first film and the second film how much their friendship has developed, which I enjoy that. And they still have that same. They have this friendship these two partners have, which I always liked. Their chemistry is still hilarious and yet wholesome as well. And it's like, oh, do we go? So when they're going to do it, like, do we go on 3 or 1, 2, 3? We do it, or we do it on 3. So they decided, and all of a sudden, boom! They go quick, boom, blows up the bathroom. So yeah, that was like the most memorable scene of the movie was the toilet. And then going back on with later on that with Patsy Kensit, fall in love with Mel Gibson, right? And of course he goes back, take her back to his trailer, right? And with the love scene there, and then with Mel Gibson's dog, Sam, his dog, the collie Sam, he'll kind of like a little bit poking his head out of the little trap door, and Mel Gibson he goes and throws his boot at him just to, hey, go away, you don't need to see this. But then at the same time, though, this is where it gets like takes a dark turn, because now all the cops are getting killed, like Jeanette Goldstein, like I said, Vasquez from Aliens. Like, she's going to the pool, right, and she's supposed to jump off the diving board. When Susie jumps, boom, she goes and, like, flips over and dies. And then the other partners, one of them was Dean Norris and a couple of other cops. They're, like, doing a game, and then turn on the radio, boom, they blow up. Or one of the cops is, like, hanging upside down and doing, like, some exercise, then bad guys come and shoots him. And so, then they try to, get Mel Gibson. They're shooting up they come in helicopters. They shoot his trailer up. They manage to get out along with his dog as well. He kills some of the bad guys. Nice fun firefight, and then with Danny Glover, because he found some information about this certain name, and it's a name of a boat that's on a shipyard, and with the nail gun. Just nails one guy in the head, and one comes up from behind, like this scene right here. Right where my finger is. Grabs him from behind, he just gets him with a nail gun too, and he goes, nailed them both. And yeah, which I mentioned long ago in High School of this was referenced in High School of the Dead. When Takagi and Hirano were in that woodshop class, and Takagi's like telling Hirano's like, you're one of the, because there's a nail gun there, right? She's like, you're one of those basement shut-ins, one of those military nerd gun geeks, are you? Come on, at least you've seen this thing before. I mean, it was that Mel Gibson movie. Yeah, so there's your reference to Lethal Weapon 2. In the English dub, yeah, of course. But which still regardless, that's like kind of like it's a fun nod. So they mentioned Lethal Weapon 2 in that show. And so, but then Mel Gibson gets captured, and this when Derrick O'Connor, the right-hand guy to Joss Ackland, saying that, he's the one who killed his wife. Well, I just think it's a big coincidence where he just happens to be this guy here who all this stuff he's messing with, right? And he just happens to be the guy who killed his wife. So they throw him into the water, weight him down to drown him. But Patsy Kensit, she's dead, and they threw her in there. She's drowned. She's dead too. But he managed to kill some of the guys because he dislocated his shoulder again to get out of the chains. And so, he's kind of like losing it a little bit. He's telling Murdoch like they killed her, Raj, they killed her. They do something. We gotta do something. They killed her. And first, Roger's like, what is he talking about, right? And so he has a plan where he's gonna take his truck, because by this time they took Joe Pesci. They took Joe Pesci and then brought him back to that house on the hill on stilts, and he's being tortured. He's being brutally beaten to death, and so Mel Gibson he takes the truck and just tries to yanking the house off its stilts, which they get Joe Pesci and get out of there. And actual house, like I said, is not CG. It's an actual house that's falling down. Which the things which I liked about all four of these movies, pretty much 99% is all done practically. Like the actual house falling down, practical explosions and stuff. Just pretty much all practical, which I did appreciate. Nowadays, it would be ways to just see. Probably they just go the cheap way and just not make it a model, just instead of making a CGI house falling down. I do appreciate that it was an actual house that they managed to pull down. And so they think that Leo is fine, and tells him to go to the station and get help. And he's like, "Hey, can I ring the siren?" And he's like, "Yeah," because the thing is, though, because the rest of the whole series, they're always picking on Leo, and just I could feel bad because they're always picking on him. That was like, okay, but they're like, okay, you can drive it with the siren on. And which by the end of the fourth film, with Mel Gibson, realizing that when Joe Pesci tells him that heartfelt story, and it's like, I am terrible to you, and Joe Pesci's like, it's okay, But then they go to the docks, and they find where the bad guys, their ship is at, and they find that inside the crate it's full of money. It's full of money, and like Danny Glover is like tempted to take a couple because like one of these bricks, they can put all of his kids in college, right? And Mel Gibson's like, take it, why not? Yeah, it's like, take it, why not? Because it's all these these bad guys' money they've just been laundering, So he's just telling Mel Gibson, hey, just take some, why not? And then then they take a car that's inside there, just drive it into the water, and dumps all their money in the water. And Josh Ackland's like looking down, like, all of our money. Yeah, that's what you get. What you deserve, scumbags. And then decent gun shootouts, like shooting bad guys. And then when Mel Gibson fighting with Derrick O'Connor, which is kind of like okay fight. I mean, to be fair, just like gets a couple of punches, and which Mel Gibson's getting more beaten. He's getting more beaten, and then takes the knife and stabs him in the leg, and then also he walks, hits a button, drops the big metal crate, and Derrick O'Connor, he just gets pancaked. But then Josh Ackland shoots him a couple times, which I think that's why he could not survive though, really. But I think that's one of the reasons maybe why Shane Black left, because they wanted to kill Riggs. I think that was one of the reasons, but I think they didn't want that, so I think that's why he left. That's why Jeffrey Boom did this to the screenplay instead. Maybe that was the case though, but I think it's better this way because even though Spikey got shot multiple times, me thinking he could have not survived though, but still, I don't think we were right to kill off Riggs. But anyway, and then again, Josh Ackland shoots him, and then Danny Glover is like, drop it, and then Josh's like, diplomatic immunity, and then the whole thing throughout the whole series, with Danny Glover, when he gets ready to make that lucky shot, he does, like, cracks his neck like this, and then bang. So he does that, and then shoots him right, and then shoots him right in the head. It's like, just been revoked. And so that ends, just with Danny Glover just talking to Mel Gibson as, because near death, you can say. But like I said, he couldn't not survive though. But the thing is though, I think it's better because we all like Riggs, we didn't want him to die, right? But then it ends with the song by "Cheer Down" by George Harrison, one of the Beatles, which I forgot to mention at the end of the first film. What was it? By Sunset Hotel or Sunshine Hotel. The song "Lethal Weapon" was playing at the end of the first film, which I didn't mention that though, but I do like that song. And here I do like the song "The Cheer Down" by George Harrison. I like that too. So some decent songs I like for both these movies. So, but the second film, number 2, is still a very solid sequel. It's a very noteworthy sequel. Danny Glover and Mel Gibson, they still make the film work. Their friendship, or not bromance though, but friendship, I was more put, it still makes the film work. Still, they still have that fun same chemistry they have with the first film. Joe Pesci was a nice addition this time. He's a lot of fun as Leo. Love Joe Pesci. He's a very fun, memorable role as Leo. They fuck you and they fuck you, I just like how he goes off rails on stuff like that, and And Josh Ackland was a good bad guy. The Derrick O'Connor is a side villain as well. I'll give him that. Patsy Kensit, really pretty really pretty at the time when this film, really pretty. And also, this came out during the summer. This is '89. This came out during the summer of '89, which Batman and Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade were around. You know, that was a pretty good summer. You know, and I guess I think so because I think this is the film. This is why my dad and my grandpa saw, because Batman was at the time and Indiana Jones were, and 3 was there. So I think they did see Batman. My dad went to see Batman. So I think this was the film. Yeah, I think this was the film that my dad and grandpa saw in the theater back then. But that was a great summer too, though. Regardless. Sadly, though, this came out before I was born, because this was '89. I was born in '91, so 2 years before, sadly. But yeah. But I enjoy the Lethal Weapon 2. It was really still a great solid sequel. I still give a thumbs up to. The first film I still think is still the best so far. So, but yep. But number 2, enjoyable sequel still. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for now. Moving on to number 3. So see you next time, and we'll on the next movie review. Later.